All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We're all, locked down, but we are allowed to go food shopping. I have hand sanitizer with me and a mask, and I'm about to trek out to do a little bit of food shopping, try to limit the exposure as much as possible, and also I'm going to pick up for some folks who can't make it outside what they all need as well. So, trying to be a good neighbor. I'm going to be very careful, social distancing and everything. But it's quite an interesting time to be living in. I've been working from home since Wednesday. Kind of feel like I'm doing more at home than I might have been doing actually at work. So it's an interesting time right now. I wanted to talk about a subject that I've spoken about before, and I think now is an important time to reflect on this particular subject, and in my humble opinion, what I think is a proper approach to these issues. I think we're all feeling something eschatological here. We feel that this is a major event because we're living through it at the moment. And how to balance this. The reason I'm saying this, that we have to find balance in this eschatology, and why I say it's because we're living through it, World War One, seems like a footnote to us, and yet many times in the past when these things have happened, people were not as prepared as we are now, and it was not the type of situation that we have at the moment. Well, people had the same types of feelings. Quite often when these types of dangerous things took place, it was ripe for false messiahs. Right after the Kalniki massacres was when Shabtai Tzvi, Yamach Shemo, Katashats took over, so much of the Jewish world. It was swept up. And, some people claim that my holy Zayda, the Chavos Yoyer, was somewhat of a devotee. I think he was certainly fascinated and interested and open-minded about it. I don't think he was actually, in any sense, a devotee of the shots, Chas v'Shalom, but rather than he was following it like we follow, someone on Twitter. Just curious. Let's see what happens with this. I don't think he never made any kind of proclamation one way or the other that we know of, although there are some claims that he did, and I'm not sure that that's really true, and maybe at a certain point he might have and then retracted it. It's possible. Nobody's perfect, but I'm certainly a devotee of my ancestor, the Chavos Yair. So everything I read from him just blows me away so much, and I'm so incredibly impressed by him. But I think of myself, if I was in that situation, living when he did, I would also be, following Shabtai Tzvi on Twitter just to keep an eye on what's going on, with an open mind and a hopeful mind, but not jumping in with both feet. And then once you find, what actually happened, well, then you walk away and you realize, no, this isn't it. And it was before the big event, but that's neither here nor there. But these are the types of things, we have to keep things in historical perspective. But also, as pious Jews, Orthodox Jews, we're expected to remember the teachings of our sages. And our sages teach something very interesting. It says, Ein ben David ba ela hefsek hadas, or hesek hadas. that Moshiach, the son of David, will only come, the Messiah, son of David, will only come when we're not paying attention. Hesed Hadas. There's many different, explanations of what that means, that we're not paying attention. But it means something. We're not paying attention. We're not really thinking, oh, this is it. In a certain sense, although we're supposed to believe, and really believe with all our hearts that Mashiach could come at any time, many people have said that, when you have an announcement, a proclamation that this is when Mashiach is going to come, that's almost a guarantee that it's not going to be. With that in mind, the lesson of that is not to get swept up in these, and not to get carried away by these ideas. Just to be normal and go back to, try to keep things the way we're supposed to be. Live as good, pious Jews. Pray. Learn Torah. Do what we're supposed to do. We understand that we're separated communally, but this is a time that we can connect spiritually directly to God. I saw, a colleague of mine, a well-known rabbi, not someone who I know, he was making a comment how, and this is not anything new that the Pope was announcing, this is really a typical Catholic approach, is that if you're unable to go to a priest to make confession, you can make a confession directly to God and you don't need the priest in the Catholic Church. And it's only when you're able to that you have the priest there. And then this rabbi, Josh Uter, I don't need to, it's nothing to be embarrassed, he didn't say anything wrong, and he said, let me introduce you to Judaism, that we make our confessions directly to God. With that being said, we have other similar things. That we have to have a minyan. But in a time like this, we don't worry about having a minyan. Just like we tell the Catholic, don't worry about confessing directly to the priest. I would tell the pious Catholic, we could tell you can pray, you can confess directly to God. You don't need a priest to intercede. To the pious Catholic, or say to the pious Jew, you can daven, you can pray, and you don't have to have a minyan. I'm a person, the minyan in my shul starts 8 o'clock in the morning in the weekdays, and I have to leave for work at 7, so I usually am davening by myself. So for me, it's pretty normal. But I know for a lot of people, it's heartbreaking. But it's what we have to do. And the thing is that there's a lesson here, and I think really I need to make a separate video about this lesson, but I'll sum it up a little bit here, and then I'll elaborate in a separate video. We are looking forward to that time when things are restored to being back to normal. And we will appreciate them that much more when they're back to normal. Meaning the complacency that we felt when we went to Minyan and said Yehi Shmei Rabbah, or answered Baruch Hu Kedusha, heard Kriyas Torah. The complacency that we felt about it will be gone. We'll appreciate it more. And that's what Golus is all about. That's why we're in this exile. Because we were complacent about the sacrifice in the temple, and already in the Bible, the prophet said, God says, "Well, I don't need all your sacrifices. Lama li rov zivchechem." And so on account of that, it was taken away from us. And we're hoping that when it's restored, we'll be excited again. And so now, as we're looking forward to restoration, to normalcy, we have to recognize the two things. The situation that we're in of Golus is not normal, and we're looking for a restoration of normalcy. But until the right time, we have to recognize we're in this situation of what they would say situation normal, all fouled up, snafu, right? Private snafu, the cartoon. And it's the same thing, we see all the tsaras, all the suffering that the Klal Yisrael has had since 1948 because of the Zionist movement. Because they didn't listen. It's the same thing like the people who are trying to make their own minyanim and not listening to the rabbis right now, right? And not doing what they're supposed to do and daven at home. It's the same thing. The Tzionim did the same thing. They followed their own ideology instead of following Das Torah, and they set up a Medina in Eretz HaKodesh, in the Holy Land. They set up their state, an independent state, and it's cost the lives of tens of thousands of Jews. If they would have done things the right way, it would be different. And it's the same thing here. The Pekuach Nefesh factor, it's extremely severe, and we have to do things the right way. And right now, the right way is davening at home and not going to minyan, and whatever it is, and not having chasanas, everything else, whatever we're doing. And if we absorb that, we understand what we're doing. But if we're not, and we're doing das balabayis instead of das Torah, it's shvichas damim. It's mamish the same inyan, and this trying to do things that we're not supposed to be doing, it's stupidity. And so that's when I think how we can develop a healthy attitude to eschatology. Here's a sign: stay home, stop the spread. And we need a few things from the supermarket. We're trying to do what we can. We're allowed to. For now, these are the important things. And we stay apart from people, and we do what we're supposed to do. But we're in the situation that we're in. And it's a message to us. And we have to take it in a healthy manner. And if you experience stress, my 6-year-old son, he said, I need to make a video about the coronavirus. And if somebody wants to see it, you let me know. I'll send you the link. He uploaded to YouTube, but I put it as a private video, because I don't need my son, to have his own mind, be there like this for the whole world. And I realized that for him, this was his therapy. This is, we haven't been talking about this, but I realized, why is he nervous about it? Because he's home from school, and it's not normal, and he notices Manishtana Laila Zemi Kol Aleilos. He's nervous about it, and he's uncomfortable about it, and he dealt with it in a very profound way, therapeutic manner, and it really helped him a lot. And this is what I do. This is what I've been doing for years here on YouTube. This is my therapy. You all are my therapists by listening to me And you all could do the same thing. You don't have to put it out for the whole world to see, but it's very useful. It really helps us to cope, and the real thing is, to talk to God, like Rabbi Nachman taught Eschatological, right? That we just talk to God like He's our best friend. And that's why I told my son, I said, this was a very good thing you did, that you sat down and you talked about this and you got through it. And it'll be, and like if you ever need to talk to me, I'm here, and your mother's here, but there's someone you can always talk to, is God. And this is therapy. This is what I've done my whole life. Just sitting, talking to myself. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. I know we make fun of people who talk to themselves, but it's something that and here I'm not talking to myself. I know somebody's watching this. But it really helps, and it might help you too. Well, God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. Be happy. Have faith. We're going to be restored to normal, and to how it's supposed to be, and not just how it was a month ago, but how it was, 5,000 years ago, before 6,000 years ago, before Adam and Eve ate from the tree. Not only we're going to restore the temple, we're going to restore everything back to its original way. And we're going to be so excited by this whole journey that we went on for these 6,000 years, because we're going to look back on it and have nostalgic feelings, and it's going to be so amazing. And that's what we're looking forward to. Not just a restoration of a government in the land of Israel. Looking for a total transformation of the whole world, where the knowledge of the Lord will cover the earth as the waters cover the seas. And the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all flesh will see it together. As long as we're all together, we'll all see it. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you later.